Introduce myself. I'm Randolph Watkins. I'm a newspaper reporter for one of the local newspapers, and what I'm doing is going around town just trying to get enough information to write a couple of good articles on the influence that the siege has had on Petersburg. And we just left one of the drinking establishments, and it seems to have be doing maybe not a booming business, but a good business anyway. Well, maybe booming is a good word since a shell penetrated the roof of the kitchen and blew it up. But yours is a completely different side of it. So how about telling these folks a little bit about what you do?
Well, I'm glad that you didn't stay too long on that side, because actually you will find in this side of our house, I want you to make a pledge for society. Because today we're going to sing some songs about how you need to give up that vile liquor. So one of the songs I want you to help me out with is a temperance song. And after we sing this song, I have some special things that you can sign, and maybe you might run this in your local paper.
Oh, well, sir.
After they sign it, you can make your mark and make sure you use your real name so your family knows who you are. United in this band we'll see, we'll sign that pledge forever. Now, if you will sign today, you'll know we'll drink that wine, but not today. Throw it away, because you can't even cook with it. I don't want you to even cook with it, because you will see when you sign this temperance that you will be making a pledge for your fellow man. How many of you here imbibe in that abnormal substance? Go ahead, raise your hand. Sign the pledge, each son and daughter, choose that clear, sparkling water. Sign the pledge, each son and daughter, choose the clear and sparkling water. Sign the pledge, each son and daughter, choose the clear and sparkling water. Sparkling water. Come over and sign the pledge.
Well, wait a minute. I got it. I got it.
Straighten up. Representing our soldiers out here on the street.
Here it is.
That was 7 days ago.
That's a pass. You asked for a pass.
You are asshole. Look at yourself. Intoxicated.
Got a right to be drunk. Leave me alone.
Let's give you some idea of what I'm doing. I'm from a local newspaper, and I'm doing a piece on how all these troops coming to town affect the people here. Is this something you encounter a lot?
Yes, sir. All these saloons open, these soldiers don't have to leave.
I'm a citizen here of Petersburg.
But he'll be spending a little time with us today, this evening. And
Get
we'll
your
be
hands off. Get your
accountable
hands
to
off of me.
his commanding officer, too.
Obviously, he didn't sign the pledge that the Temperance Society had around here at their
Hell with
booth.
any temperance. You want to know why I'm out here drinking? You want to know why I'm out here drinking?
Why are you out here drinking?
Well, hell, look at me. I'm too old to be a damn soldier.
So you drink?
Shell hit my house down the street down here and killed my wife 2 days ago.
Well, I'm certainly sorry to hear that.
I'm too old. June the night when the Yankees first hit, I went out on the militia line without thinking a second of thought about it. Well, hell, now it's August and I'm still in uniform. I've just been out in a week. I fought the Mexican War. I've done my time on the front lines.
We certainly appreciate your service, but maybe you need to be a little bit more of a credit to the Confederacy by not being such a public spectacle either.
We take good care of him. We'll take care of him, sir.
Okay, thank you, Private. And that was quite common. I mean, these soldiers went through a whole lot out there when they were fighting. And they were separated from their families. They didn't get a whole lot of time off to themselves. They didn't get a lot of recreation. It was a rough life for them. And particularly since this was a 9.5-month siege, there was no time for furloughs to amount to anything. And usually only a very small number of troops could actually get sent on furlough at any given time. And officers didn't have too much of a problem, but the enlisted men did. And when they came over here, certainly, a lot of these soldiers had never been 10 miles, 20 miles from home. And to come to a big city, many of them had never been to a saloon. They hadn't they just hadn't been exposed to the things that they would see in a big city like this. That doesn't mean that if you were from the mountains out in the country that they didn't make a lot of liquor back then. But even then it wasn't illegal because they didn't tax it necessarily. And the soldiers, they made apple cider at home, they made homemade wine, made homemade beer. But you didn't see them with the ready, I guess, temptation that you find in a big city like this. And here the Provost Marshal Guard, he has to walk around town and apprehend his peers and take them before the Provost Marshal. They probably wind up in the stockade for a while, or the guardhouse. They may wind up riding a rail, which was basically a big sawhorse with like a log across the top of it that they usually made the top of the log on an angle like that, beveled, so when you sat on it, it wasn't too comfortable. And you have to sit up there for a couple of hours dangling from that thing. Or they would, sometimes in camp, they'd give you a sign, put it around your neck. It said, drunkard. And you'd have to walk around in camp. And these other soldiers who hadn't gotten drunk yet, or weren't drunk at the time, would laugh at you, and sometimes they were sympathetic to them. But at the same time, here you are being publicly humiliated in front of all your friends. So it's they really had, both sides of this story had a rough time. And quite often, the soldiers that were here, the Provost Guard wound up having to chase these fellows. There was one kind of a classic chase that Provost Guard had apprehended this man for being drunk, and the fellow took off running. Well, usually they have all the accoutrements, a musket and everything with them. So they took off, ran about 3 blocks. The fellow happened to find a fence. He clambered over top of the fence, but the Provost Guard couldn't get over the fence because of all the musket and everything they had, so he got away. So it was the